Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So, there's quite a bit to get through in this one. There's quite a bit to talk about and discuss. Now, nothing has been officially announced as I'm recording this right now, but it is all pointing towards Alex Neil becoming the new Sunderland manager. Now, I was planning, or I would usually like to wait until there is official confirmation, but I just simply don't have time. I have work tonight, and I'm working all day tomorrow, so I don't have a chance to do a review for the game tomorrow. I won't be able to watch the game tomorrow, and I'm working all day and night on Sunday. So the tiny little space I have to make a video, this is the time to do it. So it was supposed to be Roy Keane. As of the last video that was going out, everyone expected Roy Keane to be appointed as Sunderland manager. You know, he's had all those cryptic interviews, the smirks at the cameras. There's been some pretty high-end sort of news outlets that all pointed in the direction of Roy Keane being given the Sunderland manager's job, and then that all just seemed to fall to pieces yesterday. You know, whilst I was at work, I was watching it all unfold on Twitter, and I just thought, oh my god, here we go. So it all fell to shit, and just makes you think, what the hell is going on? You know, and what a strange thing as well that has annoyed me, not just the whole Roy Keane thing, because a lot of people have just immediately decided to side with Roy Keane, which again is a fan favourite. I love Roy Keane just as much as the next Sunderland fan. But if he has tried to sort of almost not hold the club to ransom, but he's asked for too much, then, you know, that can happen. And I get it. If you really want to join the club, if you really want to be the manager of the club and get back into management again, or if you really do, you know, love the club, in which Roy Keane has, you know, stated he's very, he holds the club in really high regard, you know, then he would have signed already. You know, they've had sort of 2 or 3, potentially anyway, 3 rumoured different interviews with him. So I don't know whether it's just constant negotiations where they just couldn't find that breaking point of where they can come to an agreement. Whether Roy Keane, you know, there's rumours of him asking for 50k a week, which for a League One manager, that's ridiculous. I think that's more than 4 or 5 Premier League managers from some figures I've seen. So if that is the case, I do kind of understand. You know, maybe if he said, you know, you can have X amount of wages now, if he gets promoted you can have this, and if he gets to the Premier League you can have this or whatever, then yeah, I get that. But 50,000 a week, if that is true, then I do kind of understand why they wouldn't give him that. Some people have said, oh, well, he's meant to be a multi-millionaire or billionaire owner, KLD, so why wouldn't he do it? That's not really the point. I think it's the whole morality of it. You know, if you really want someone to be there because he wants to do a job at Sunderland, then why would he be asking for 50k in League One? Do you know what I mean? So I do get that, and, you know, as much as I love Roy Keane, I think he would do a cracking job, and he's the right personality and the right man I think we would need. It maybe his heart wasn't exactly in the right place if he did just want the money. Or, on the flip side, he could have turned up, and the reason there might have been 2 or 3 different meetings is because the state of the board or the state of the owners, you might think, well, who the hell is running this club? And he's turned away. But if that was the case, then why was there so much smirking, so many cryptic messages that he was making out on the interviews and stuff? It all seemed to point in the direction of Keane, you know, being perfectly happy to come. So something has happened last second for him to pull out, or for us to pull out. But because, you know, like I say, you know, there's no one is bigger than this football club. Not one man. There's no one man that is bigger than this football club. No one on earth is bigger than Sunderland Football Club. No one. So if he was holding the club to ransom, or he wanted too much, and that's it. End of story. That's it. So now it is all points towards Alex Neil. Now, I did say in my sort of rumour video when there was all the odds on and stuff like that, I did say my favourite would be Roy Keane. I said I also want Warnock. Then I said, but the sort of one below Warnock and Roy Keane, there was Neil and there was McCann. And I said the one that I would prefer out of McCann and Neil, it was Neil. Because Neil, for me, I think he is a great addition. He would be a great addition for this league. I feel like everything just seems so underwhelming now because of this whole mess around with Roy Keane. You know, everyone was on such a high on the Roy Keane train, and then all of a sudden, like that, when everything seemed like it was dead on, it just falls to pieces. So anything other than Roy Keane now feels and seems somewhat underwhelming, which is a massive shame, because I think that had we lost against Bolton and then a couple of days later we announced Neil, I think we would have been buzzing with it. I think we would have been perfectly happy with it, and I think a lot of people would have been perfectly happy with it. But because we've taken so unbelievably goddamn long, we're losing games and losing momentum by the second, and we're taking so long to appoint a manager when something really should have been in place, when I feel like they've thrown away a good 6 to 9 points now, purely because they've been taking far too long to appoint a new manager. You know, everything just seems so negative, you know, and I think originally the appointment of Alex Neil is far from a bad one. It really is far from a bad one. Now, the reason I'm making this video, of course, like I say, there isn't 100% confirmation that Alex Neil is the manager, but Sky Sports, other huge outlets have just said that Alex Neil is pretty much confirmed to be taking charge for the game against Wimbledon, and he's already taken training, or has already taken training. Although that's kind of confused me, because I did see a video of someone seeing the the team bus heading down to Wimbledon very early this morning. Yet Sky Sports are saying that he's taking training with him today. So I don't get it. It's just so much speculation that's confusing me. I'm so unbelievably mentally drained by this football club. I cannot explain how frigging mentally drained I am. But, like I say, I don't have a statement or anything to read off because it isn't 100% confirmed. But as of right now, it looks as though Alex Neil is going to be the new Sunderland head coach or manager, whichever way they're going to prefer it. Probably head coach, I'm presuming, with the system we have in place. And I'd be very, very happy with that. He's done a very, very good job at Preston. It went a little bit skew-iff towards the back end where they did drop towards the sort of lower tiers of the championship. But in general, it was always top 8 finishes, top 9, top 8 finishes with Preston. The football they played, the brand of football played was really good. You know, some similarities to Lee Johnson when some fans have said, you know, Norwich and Preston fans have both said that he doesn't like to just sit on a lead, he wants to keep going for it, or he will risk a defeat for the win, if that makes sense. And that is what Lee Johnson did at times, and that's how he ended up with a 6-0 defeat. Although in saying that, we were just terrible throughout that entirety of that game. It weren't like we were constantly peppering the goal and leaving spaces at the back, do you know what I mean? But yeah, and I've seen interviews with Alex Neil before, and obviously I know Alex Neil quite well anyway, obviously not personally, but I know of him quite well, so many interviews, and he absolutely seems to have the same morals that fit and marry up with the Sunderland morals, you know, work hard, he expects everyone to have, you know, sort of just general manners and etiquette, as well as, you know, like I say, 100% effort in training every day. You know, you're in a fortunate position to be where you are, so work for it type thing. So that's what we want, hard work. We need players to have a kick up their arse if they're not, you know, if they're slowing down in training a bit, or if their attitude's a bit off, he will tell them. So he does have the sort of, the same sort of Keane effect in terms of giving them a rocket up their arse. He won't be afraid of doing that. And he is tactically very sound from what I've seen from certain clubs. And he does generally have a really good effect on clubs. Like, for example, when he took over Norwich, you know, I think he was only, 33 or something at the time. I think he was the second youngest manager in the Football League at the time. And he took over where Norwich weren't doing so great. First game, they beat Bournemouth, who at the time were top of the league, beat them 2-1. I think they won, I thought it was like sort of 17 out of 23, 24 games, and then got them into the third place, and they won the playoffs. So he will have that immediate bounce, and my God, do we need an immediate bounce, because we are falling away at the minute. You know, only 2-3 weeks ago, we looked like the playoffs was an absolute bare minimum, and now we could very easily fall out of him. I think it's if Chef Wednesday and someone else, I can't remember who it is now, I don't have the league table, but I think if with a couple of wins around us, we could fall out of the playoffs. So we need to just simply keep on winning games, and if he can give us that bounce, I'm all for it. He has the pedigree for it, and for League One, my God, I think that is a really good signing, but I just think everything just seems so dour because of, first and foremost, the performances on the pitch and how long the club have taken and the whole mess around with Rory Keane. So everything just seems so dour and negative when this is actually a really, really good appointment, if it is to be confirmed. Please, God, after I make this video, do not tell me we get a frigging notification saying that he's not coming, because it'd just be typical Sunderland, wouldn't it? It would just be typical Sunderland. And one more thing I do want to mention before I do go, which just kind of end it on a slightly negative note, but it's just something that has annoyed me. Pretty much the Sunderland, not just the Twitter account, but the socials in general, right? Sunderland, after that defeat, after that previous defeat, usually you get a post-match interviews or you know, interviews with either players or managers. Obviously, it would have been Dodds or Proctor. We got nothing. It's been absolutely dead silence on the socials for 2-3 days now since the defeat against Cheltenham. We've had nothing, and even I do fail to remember. I think it was either yesterday or the day before. It was the sort of the anniversary of the death of Liam Miller, who died. I think it was 4 years ago now. And every former club was posting, you know, RIP and, you know, in memory of Liam Miller. Still nothing from our club. So I just find it really distasteful, and it was shocking. I think the way the club has been enacted over the last couple of days is terrible. And the first thing they have done, the first post they have made since the defeat against Cheltenham was this morning, pretty much saying we've sold out against Wimbledon. Yay. Do you know what I mean? So they've failed to address the issues after the Cheltenham game. They failed to appreciate and, you know, sort of, you know, the anniversary of Liam Miller. They failed to mention him at all, which they have done usually every single year. But they're perfectly happy to say, look, you guys are lining the owners' pockets. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a sinister way to say that KLD is doing anything sinister or anything dark behind closed doors. I'm not saying that at all. But it's just the way it looks. It looks so unbelievably shoddy from the football club. So they do need to be held accountable or just held. Questions have to be asked. You've got Charlie Methven who was at the game the other night, and he's supposed to be nothing to do with the club really anymore. He has resigned. I think he does have a place somewhere amongst the club, but he doesn't have an actual role where he doesn't have an active sort of voice for the club or input for the club. He's not supposed to, from what we've seen, but he keeps on popping up every now and then. So there's been questions asked about owners, of the ownership, the percentages of the ownership, who owns what. But yeah, I think the way the club have handled themselves has been utterly terrible and shambolic and embarrassing over the last couple of weeks really, but particularly over the last few days. I've been ashamed. But yeah, bring on a bit of a bright note. It looks like Alex Neil is going to be the head coach or manager of Sunderland Football Club, and I am very, very all for it. I'm very happy for it to happen. So you guys let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about the potential appointment of Neil? Let me know. And if you've enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sassy Army. But for now, you take care and stay jamming.